Alright, so in this video we will be continuing our mini series on Linux and manual enumeration for privilege escalation. So we will learn some step how we can like move from lower privilege to higher privilege. I have already made one video. If you have not watched the first video, I highly recommend checking it out. I'll drop the link in the description. Now in this video what we will be doing is, let's assume you are a hacker, and as a hacker you get the initial access to the Linux operating system. What you will do after getting the access is first of all finding out what are the different users that exist on the same Linux operating system. So a hacker, or in this case you need to find out the other user that exists on the same Linux operating system, because they might have a different group or like weak configuration or like some different pathways or loophole that will give us the root privilege. And we will also find out what are the different group those users belong to and their privilege and different stuff. So that's what we will be doing in this video. So let's just get into that. Okay, so we are on our notes. Previously we have talked about the id command, what it does and what kind of information it can give us, right? And another one is, I think I have not talked about that in the first video, which is who am I. That just give the simple username of the current user that you are currently logged into. Okay, so that was the second command, and this was the id command that I have already talked about. Now we will just find out what are the different users that exist on the same Linux machine that we have got the initial access on. Over here you can see, why do we even need to find out the other user? So the reason we need to find out is every user account is a potential target or stepping stone. So as I said earlier, that it might give us some loophole or some pathway to root privileges. You can see right here, some user might have weak password, some might run privilege processes that we can hijack and might have cron job you can exploit. We have not actually talked about this one, so I'm not going to talk about this one a lot, but assume that we have some processes that run as different account and they are running as privileged user. If we can somehow hijack them, it will help us a lot then. So right here you can see on the screen, this is assume this is the system directory or like system folder where all of the system related stuff are stored. So what's inside in this file is that it lists everyone who has or had access to the Linux operating system that we are currently on. So if we can somehow read this, we will actually find out all of the user that is currently present or had the access to this machine. And this line, as you can see, it says not just only give the name but also reveal the system purposes and configuration. So I am on my Kali Linux, and let me just open terminal and find out what are the other users that exist on this machine. Okay, let me just make it big so you can see it more clearly. Now I will just actually type this cd/etc/ actually just the etc directory. So we are in this directory now. If I type the ls, we will see a bunch of file, and our focus that should be only on this specific file. The good thing about this is it contains, as I said, all of the user related information and their configuration, as well as what's important to note about this is it's like a world readable file, like anybody can read what's inside this file. So back in the days, like years ago, what used to happen is that the right now it just show the user names and stuff configuration. Back in the days, what used to happen is that this file also contain the password as well. As I said, it's world readable, anybody can read it. It's like a security risk. To solve this security problem, what there is now they just store the username related information in this file, and they have actually another separate file that they store the password, which is the shadow file. I think it's somewhere in this place, in this /etc directory, but I will have to look for that. Actually that's not our main focus. I was just giving you some additional information. So we have this file and we are in this directory. What we are going to do is actually find out what's inside in this file. So I will just type cat and the file name. So this will give actually show all of the information inside that file. So we can see a bunch of information. Let me just make it like this so we can see it completely. we have so much information like the root, daemon, bin, and a bunch of user, I guess. In the very first line, what we have is, let me just tell you what this is. The first name, the root right here, is the username used for login. So if you just type the whoami command, you will find out the user you used for login. This is the same name that when we like trying to log in through SSH or FTP or different service, we actually use this name. Let me just type the whoami command. Whoami command. So this is the username I use for logging into the Kali Linux, and over here you can see this is it. And what's after this, after the colon, is the X. If you remember in the first video, this X is the encrypted password. So again, back in the days, what used to happen is instead of the X character, the real password or the password hash for this user used to be present here. But now for security purposes, they just put the X character over here. And to find the hash which used to be here, it's in the etc/shadow file, and that shadow file that contain the hash root can only read that file. Like we are right now not a root user, so we cannot actually do read it. Let me actually try it out by typing the cat command and the shadow file. That's the file. You can see right here we cannot read the file. We don't have the permission. Okay, coming back to the topic. After the X, what this is this is the user ID. If you remember, the user ID for a root user is 0, and it will always be 0, and from 1 to 999 is for system services related account, and for regular user to start from the 1000. So this is the user ID, and this is the GID or the group ID. So by default, the group name is the same as the username, and same is the case for the group ID and user ID. Right here you can see the user ID and the group ID is same, and if I make some file using this user, and then I just figure out what will be the group for that specific file, it will be the same. Let me actually do this by typing touch and abcxytxt. Oh, so we cannot actually make file in this place. So okay, I got that. Let's go there and cd downloads. Now we are in download folder, and now what I'm going to do is create a file, touch test.sh actually. So we have made this file. Now let's just type the ls. We can see we got this file, and if I now see the user and the group of this file, it will be the same as username ls-l. So over here you can see the file that we just made. This is the user and this is the group name, so both are the same. As I said, it's by default. Okay, I hope you get what I mean, and let's just go about again to what we were discussing. Yeah, we were over here, and so we talked about till here and what this specific thing is inside those two columns. So this thing right here, it's just we just call it the comment field or comment section, and it contains the full name of the user or the description. And after that, what we have is that you can see over here, this is where the user's personal file lives or presented. This is similar to the Windows. You go to the C drive, or where you install the Windows, and then go to the user folder, and then you find out all of the user that you made on the Windows, and then you click on a specific user, and then you see the file associated with that specific user. So that's the same thing. And one more thing is that whenever we get log in into Linux or get access through and compromise a Linux system, we just get into this place /home and the /username. And as I said, this place contain the personal file of the user, in this case this user. So we will be actually finding out sensitive file SSH key and the terminal history. And in the last you can see the /user/bin/z/sh. So this is this gives some information related to when I log in into Kali Linux using this user, it will just give me this z shell or the bash shell, I guess. I will have to look that. You can see over here, I hope you can see. So this is where we are right now, and I'm just a little bit confused, so I will just type the control A over here, and then I will just go to the cloud and ask him what this is, because I don't know. This is the cloud, and let me just paste the material. Yeah, I think let's wait for the result and figure out what this is actually. Yeah, so I know these are like different types of shells. One is the bash. We do have like different type of shell, so it just means when the user log in, they will just get into bash shell, and bash is the most common shell on Linux, and this is what we use the command like ls cd ps and these command. And okay, we do see the slash bin slash false and no login thing. This is for the user service or services, mostly services account that I told you the user ID of that is from 1 to 999, so they cannot actually launch a shell and just do whatever, do the command and stuff. Let's see, we do have, I guess, the services account over here, but let's just first finish this from a security perspective. If you see a service account like this that has it also, they are saying that when a service account has this instead of this, it's a red flag. Okay, these specific service has this slash bash or slash base or any other shell instead of the no login, that's a red flag, and we can target that. And that's what actually we are trying to find out. We are actually finding out different red flag or the weak configuration that will potentially give us the root access, which normally should not be able to launch the terminal shell. So I need to figure out the services account over here. Yeah, I think, yeah, we do have over here. So you can see no login, and this is the service account, so it's normal. So over here you can see that we will be focusing on or paying attention to the service account with the real shell like this slash bash instead of the no login thing. And over here you can see why finding out about different user, it can help us like if we find out somewhere else later any credential, we will then know, yeah, this credential is for this specific user if mentioned. And the lateral movement is, I think, multiple user, like when different many user exist, you can target all of them. Maybe a specific user have like some weak configuration or like some different loophole that we will exploit. Okay, so we know that who exists on this system. What we will do next is we will find out what the system actually does. What we will do next is we will be trying to find out the terminal or bash history like we did in the Windows privilege escalation. If you remember, like finding out what command were run and like figuring out the history of PowerShell, whatever was ran in the PowerShell, we just got that information. And similarly we will do that same thing over here in the next video. Hopefully I will see you in the next one. Peace out.